Okay then folks, welcome to the weekly roundup for week commencing the 4th of February. So let's start as we normally do with the AUD daily. We've got the A at 1.0855 and the B is at 95.83. Now, we've been talking about this particular part of the retracement for a little while now, so it's this retracement here. And of course, we were talking about this uptrend line last week, about breaking through this uptrend line, and particularly taking out this 1.0340. If we take this out, then what we have got, of course, is that potential twin peak reversal trade, where we'll take out the baseline. Take out the baseline, retrace back to test the back of this uptrend line that we also need to break, of course, with our potential then trend down towards, and it'd be the 1.18 level right here that we'd be heading for, because on this look, this AB subswing, the retracement is now retraced up to the 86, and therefore the 1.18 is our potential extension area. So if we do see some sort of continuation short, then we're going to take out 1.0340, see that retracement potential, and then of course maybe look to take that trade short down towards the 1.0059 area. But let's take a look at the 4-hour, because at the moment we've got this pin bar as well formed, so some uncertainty in the market. What I need to really see is for it to go short. I certainly want to see this take out this 1.0340, and if we're going to go back above into the buy zone, I want to see it take out this high point right here, look, and that's at 1.0476, which we'll see right now on the 4-hour. But if we take a look at the 4-hour AB swing, A is at 1.0286 and the B is at 1.0583. And of course, here we've got the buy zone. This is the uptrend line that we're looking at on the daily. Below it is, of course, our sell zone. And this is the battle we can see right here. But as you can see, we've got this layer making lower lows and making lower highs. So this is a high, this is a lower high, low, lower low, okay, lower low, lower low, lower low. It's making lower lows and lower highs. So if the bears are going to stay in control, they're going to take out this level that we just discussed on the daily, 1.0340. And of course, we were also saying that if we're really going to take or see it move back above into the buy zone, I'd really want to see it take out this level at 1.0476 first. So let's wait and see what happens, see which level it starts to take out. Quick look at the 1 hour. A is at 1.0577 and the B is at 1.04493. Of course, let's just change this here to the buy now, because this is the sell. So we've got these inner trend lines drawn. Okay, buy zone, this is the inner trend line, buy zone above it, sell zone below it. Once again, if we start to see these levels taken out, this is the level that we just looked at on the 4-hour and daily, what we're going to see is a potential twin peak reversal trade, as well as break the inner trend line, move to the outer trend line, because if we see this come now, take this out here, this level or this downtrend line, take out this high, retrace potential to go to the outer trend line, or of course when you break the inner trend line, potential move straight to the outer trend line. So that's another clue that in actual fact what we are going to do is go long rather than continue short, but we have to wait and see these actually develop first. Let's move on. Okay, then we've got the Euro daily. A is at 1.4246 and the B is at 1.2623. But let's move to the here and now, because this is what we were concentrating on last week, this retracement, this long retracement. And we had this consolidation and we had this breakthrough consolidation. And at that point, what did we say? Well, we said one of two things. Be very, very careful, because what it could do is either move back into consolidation or retrace to test the back of this consolidation. And if you remember last week, what we did say, we would need to watch this sort of area here. Well, look what it did. It came back in and it tested this area before we saw the extension. And you can see on this AB subswing, so this is your AB subswing right here, it's hit the extension. So we're now going to move this subswing. This will be the A. And of course, we need to the left, to the right before we can actually write our B. So we can't quite put in the new AB subswing just yet, but you can see it's actually hit that subswing and we've continued long. And of course, so let me zoom back out a little bit here. We've come up to the 61.8 as well, of course. Not quite a pin bar, semi-pin bar. It's about 50% of the entire candle, so it could be classed as a pin bar, but not what either would like to see a retracement. But certainly what we can expect, we've hit the 61.8 of the main down AB swing. We're at the 61.8 of the extension. It's a little bit of a Gartley because remember, what we've got is convergence between the upswing and the downswing Fibonacci, so potential convergence here and here. So what can we expect? Well, we can certainly expect some sort of retracement back to the uptrend line because we've scored a point and pullback. We've also hit our extension take profit area right here as well. So potentially we should be able to see potentially some sort of retracement back to the main uptrend line, this point of reference, but we'll be able to see that on the smaller time frames anyway. So if we take a look at the 4 hour, we've got the AB swing. Well, the A is at 1.2661 and the B is at 1.3306. And of course, this was the consolidation area. And of course, look at this. This is with the actual test right here. Look, let's just draw this in. This was the test with a lovely pin bar, look. So this was a sort of identifying that potentially we could be bouncing off what used to be resistance and now becoming support and going after the extension. And you can see that we've in actual fact hit the extension point, but what we don't have 2 to the left and 2 to the right yet to be able to draw in our new AB swing. But we are looking for a new AB swing. Another reason why potentially we might see this move back down to this up point of reference. But we'll be able to have a look on the 1 hour because we'll be able to draw in these inner trend lines and get a little bit more of a heads up as to whether or not we're moving into a sell or a buy situation. Now, the A is at 1.3413 and the B is at 1.3623. And of course, this is the AB swing. We found resistance at the 1.18. Look, this area, 1.27. And now this potential fall right here. So will we come down to this inner trend line and break into this downtrend line here, though, the main uptrend line? Well, we'll have to wait and see. I just want to zoom out a little bit because this is the uptrend line, the main uptrend line, and you can see that these are inner trend lines right here, of course, okay? We could also draw this sort of trend line in here if we wanted to, so let's pop that in here. And draw that one in there, okay? So there you've got an uptrend line, the main uptrend line as well. Remember, on the 4 hour, let me zoom out a little bit. This is the uptrend line. Let's get this drawn in a little bit better from this point as well. And just put this in here. Okay. So this is the main outer trend line. This is the inner trend line. Move back to the 1 hour. Here you can see the inner trend line. There's the inner trend line. This is the main outer trend line. So we've got inner trend lines now that we can start watching to see whether or not we break from these areas, the buy zones, into the area below, which will be a sell zone. If we break into this area, this then becomes your buy zone. Below this next trend line becomes a sell zone, and again below this area would again become the sell zone. So we're going to start seeing whether or not we're going to start falling through these areas. Now if we move on to the 15 minute, I just want to zoom out a little bit here because you've got the trend lines as well. What we really need to start watching as well is, let's say that we now start making this sort of move, we break this inner trend line, so we start making these sort of moves. Remember, we can then put in our downtrend line. And if we get a break of this downtrend line, potential twin peak reversal, then we can maybe look to take a long trade if we start to see these breaks. And remember, short term, of course, we are long indeed because that's this retracement. And of course, if you take a look at the 4 hour, up AB, take a look at the 1 hour, up AB, so we are short term long. So what we are saying is watch for this now, because if we start to see sort of this sort of move now, what we can then do, we can draw in our downtrend line, and of course we can wait for that break with a potential twin peak reversal with a potential long, or of course a break, and then when we get the break of the candle that's broken this in the trend line, we break above it to the high of that candle, we can of course, that's another entry if you want to take a look at that as well. So let's watch the euro, let's see which way it's going to go, watch the time frames to give you the heads up. Let's move on. So GBP USD daily. A is at 1.6177, your B is at 1.5672. Now, this is the actual pin bar here. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. because we discussed this particular pin bar right here, and let me highlight it. We discussed this particular pin bar because we saw that pin bar, and we said, oh, well, this is a potential. We've scored a point. We've got a potential new AB swing, and therefore what we might be seeing here is we might be seeing this retracement now back towards this area before we see a fall. It failed, and we formed a new low, but then what we did do is we formed two to the left and two to the right, so we managed to get our new AB swing formed right there, okay? Now, we said we were waiting for a retracement towards this area here, so towards this area right here, and then we started to see this retracement. And how did we see this retracement? Because quite a few of us got into this trade. Congratulations. How did we see it? Well, let me tell you how I saw it. I'm going to just move very quickly to the 4 hour, give you the swing. The A is at 1.6177 and the B is at 1.5755. And I'm going to go to the 1 out and give you the swing there. The A is at 1.5949 and the B is at 1.5755. So, like we say, back to the daily. We saw this, or we expected this potential retracement. I went to the 4 hour. Now we have this inner trend line drawn here, look. Now, look at this. We had a break of the inner trend line. We came back to test it, and look at this pin bar. Fantastic pin bar, opportunity to get in long. That was one opportunity. By the way, yes, it's certainly failed since then, but this was the setup. We're discussing it now. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Look at this, down in the trend line. This down in the trend line right here, we started seeing this retracement. We broke the inner trend line, potential to come to the outer trend line. It did just that. This was the break then and the test of it, and then it continued. Broke this, it continued. Now, if we're drawn in this uptrend line here and we got this break below this uptrend line, that was telling us full body break below it, close below it, exit the trade. This is what I did tell you. I said, please be careful because you are counter trend trading as well. Watch for the market. And of course, we also had non-farms payroll, okay? So, if you were watching your trade, you managed to get in. Doesn't matter which way you got into it. The fact of the matter is we were expecting a retracement. We were then waiting for signals. This was a signal. Break of the inner trend line, move to the outer. Break of the trend line, move to the outer. We could see that these were the breaks, but this 4 out was an absolute cracker here with the pin bar. And then we saw the extension of it moving off. Then if you'd have got into this trade on the pin bar, what you could have done on the daily, of course, or on the 1 hour, you've got this uptrend line. As soon as you saw the break below and the close, you could have exited your trade, okay? You could have exited the trade, and all right, would have been out a few pips, but not a very big stop at all. You wouldn't have lost a great deal on that. It just looked like an extremely fantastic setup at this point. It just didn't go deeper, and I think maybe the non-farm payroll played a little bit of a part of that. But anyway, that's life. We win some, we lose some, okay? Let's move on. Okay, New Zealand. A is at 85.70, B is at 74.69. Now we eventually got the trade down to, or the move down to this up point of reference, this main trend line here. We've been waiting for it for a while, but eventually it actually gave it us. And what did it also give us? Look at these beautiful, beautiful tweezer bottoms as well right here. We did say we're waiting for this. Eventually we got it. Now we can change this uptrend line, and we will change this uptrend line to this point right here when we take out, and if we take out this high point at 84.76, okay? Can't do it just yet, not until we've taken out this high point. And once we take out the high point, you come back down to the point of reference that will be used for the new uptrend line, and it's this point right here, okay? But we're looking pretty strong to take out this 84.76, but it hasn't done it yet. We have to wait and see. But this was a great trade, folks. Let's move to the 4 hour. A. Well, the A is at 81.52 and the B is at 84.57. Once again, we had a fantastic pin bar. Look at this pin bar that we had here. Absolutely fantastic, right on the back of the trend line. That could have got you into the trade. And of course, you'd need some real steel shorts here because it came back on you. You had your low below this anyway. It didn't take us out. Another pin bar. Fantastic pin bar with great entry options. And then we saw the move, and we saw that take out this 84.57. I want to see it take out this high right here. But remember, we've taken out the high. Expect some sort of retracement. But what you can do if you want to, we know that we're potentially expecting some sort of retracement. So let's take a look at the 1 hour. So let me come in for the AB swing. The A is at 82.10 and the B is at 84.52. Okay, now this is the extension point right here. Again, these are the pin bars. This was a great pin bar here on the 1 hour. Then we saw this extension. We saw an A-B subswing, hit the extension, potential retracement. Now, we know potentially we could start retracing. Now, if we draw in this particular uptrend line, 2 pin bars we can draw here. This could also confirm when you break this area here, because this is above it is the buy zone. And of course, below it would be the sell zone. And if we break into this sell zone here, potentially we could be coming back to this up point of reference, because we break the inner trend line, move to this outer reference here. Again, we could use the 15-minute here, because you've got these lovely inner trend lines that you can draw on the 15-minute once again. Breaking these would actually tell you that potentially we're going to start falling short, which would mean, moving back to the higher time frames, we're going to see this score a point, potential pullback. And if you're a scalper and want to scalp against this particular trend, you can do so towards this uptrend line right here. Let's move on. Oh, but by the way, folks, I'm certainly still in this trade, particular trade, and I will be remaining in here, because I want to see whether or not we can hit the extension point right up here at 86.45. We'll have to wait and see. But as I say, a bit of steel shorts were required, and it's the natural flow of the market. Remember, score a point. There, it scored a point, pull back, scored a point, scored a point, so potential pullback. Let's just wait and see what happens, okay? Now, let's move on. Okay, USD CAD. A is at 1.0360 and the B is at 0.9857. Watching this retracement, look at this. We've got these beautiful tweezer tops. We were saying that we expect some sort of retracement anyway. Why? Very simple. Once again, we've scored a point. We took out this high point here, look. The bulls in control scored a point. Pull back. Natural flow of the market. So we expected this sort of retracement here, and we've seen the retracement. Beautiful tweezer tops, and of course we start to see the retracement. Potentially it could be coming after this main point of reference, this uptrend line. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. Well, the A is at 98.14 and the B is at 1.0099. Above is the buy, below is the sell. Inner trend line, look, break. Potential move to the outer trend line. Let's just see what happens with this particular time frame. The 1 hour. A is at 99.02 and the B is at 1.0034. Now look at this inner trend line. Look at the break. Broke the inner trend line. Tested the back of the trend line, and it started to fall. Lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Inner trend line, broke the inner trend line. Is it moving to this main part trend line here, this main point of reference, this trend line here? Well, potentially it is. But what we've also got, we've also got this downtrend line drawn in here, so watch for the break above it for a potential move higher, okay? Because looking at this daily as well, what it could do is it could come down to this area, this main uptrend line, and bounce again, looking for the back of this main trend line. But if it does that, well, we'll know it's going to do that because it'll start breaking this downtrend line right here. That's what it's going to do. It'll start breaking those downtrend lines, and it'll start moving above into this area, because while ever we're in this area here, below this trend line is the sell. If we move above this trend line, it's the buy zone. So effectively what we could see, and this would be the high point right here, this would be a high point, it would break this trend line, take out this high point, potential twin peak reversal, and off we go along. If it's going to bounce off this main point of reference, this trend line, if we're looking at the daily. But of course, what you're also going to expect is it to potentially drop below it, okay? And if we take out this area here, we take out this 98.12 area, then of course we've got this potential, take the uptrend line out, take the baseline out, retrace, test the back for a potential fall as well. So we can watch that now to see what happens with the CAD. Let's move on. Now, this is certainly one that didn't go our way, or certainly didn't go my way. I'm just going to put this trend line back for a time being right here, because what we were talking about was this particular pin bar here. Let me give you the swings first of all. So we've got the swings in. A is at 85.66, B 97.71. Here and now, we have this downtrend line. We're expecting it to go long. We broke the downtrend line, came back to test it with a lovely pin bar. The pin bar failed, look, and it took out the low point right here. So at that point, we had to readjust our trend line, move it to the next point of reference, which is right here. So we're now once again below the trend line. Above is the buy, below is the sell zone, okay? Pin bar. Last point of reference, scored a point, potential pullback. So watch this now for a potential pullback towards this downtrend line. If we take a look at the 4 hour, A is at 92.91. The B is at 90.85. And again, below is the sell zone, above is the buy zone. This is the lovely pin bar as well. Potentially what we could be seeing is a retracement towards this main downtrend line, and even a break of that, because if it's going to break this inner trend line, moving back to the daily, it means that we're moving back towards this main point of reference right here, okay? So a little bit of caution needs to be taken. But looking at the 1 hour, A is at 92.91 and the B is at 0.9092. And of course, we've got these inner trend lines. You could have had an inner trend line here, of course, drawn in right here. And you can see that we're just starting to break it. No real breakthrough yet, no real determined breakthrough. But if we're going to break through here, we're going to move to this outer. If we're going to break through this outer, we're going to move to this outer potentially as well. And once again, look at this. Let's move back to the daily. If we get a move, let's say we get this move back here. What you do on the smaller time frames, like so the 1 hour, you draw this uptrend line, and if we get a break here at this area here, which is the back of the trend line, if we get a break below this uptrend line, this potentially means we're going to continue short. Potentially we're going to continue short. So let's have a look at what we've just done there, and back on the daily, sorry, on the 1 hour. So if we do get a break here, and we start moving, and we start breaking this, look, and start moving here, then what we're going to do is we're going to draw this uptrend line. And then when we get towards this area, which is this main downtrend line right here, we're going to watch for a break back below the trend line, which could potentially tell us we're going to start the fall. That's all we're doing, folks. We're just making it really simple, keeping it simple. We're not confusing things here. We're not complicating things. We're waiting for the market to tell us what's happening, okay? Let's move on. Okay, JPY, vein of my life. A, 94.97, B, 76.31. Let's move to the here and now. This is the retracement. I've been waiting for such a long time for some sort of fall. It's not continued. You know, this has just gone and gone and gone and gone. We're at the 86% level now of this retracement. So we need to just adjust the extension, potential extension to the 1.18. There we go. And again, let's have a look to the 4 hour. Now on the 4 hour, A, B swing, we've hit the extension, but we haven't got 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Don't forget, I'll keep you informed on Twitter. And if you haven't signed up to watch on Twitter, you can do so. Just go to forexclassmate.com, the main website, and you'll be able to there follow, see the Twitter button, the follow button, hit on Twitter, and that'll mean that you will get the updates when we get some new swings, and I see new swings. And even when I have potentials, trades, I do put it on Twitter so that you guys will get it in advance notice as well, okay? So here we have that, and again, in the trend lines that we can start watching. Once again, I would expect some sort of retracement, even if it's only down to this main uptrend line, as you can see. Looking at the 1 hour, we haven't quite hit our extension, but we're going for that. In a trend line, watch for the break to see some sort of potential short move. But it's been very, very strong. We just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Watch the markets and see what it says. Okay, folks, well, I'll see you during trading hours from Monday. Thank you very much.